In today's video, we take a little road trip to a scenic spot along the Columbia River in southeastern Washington state, where I put the drone up in the air for a look at an unusual rock formation known as the Twin Sisters, which were formed by tremendous floods in this area about 14,000 years ago. Lewis and Clark explored this area back in 1805 at the request of President Thomas Jefferson. And since it's only about a half-hour drive from my house, I thought I should explore it too. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you know that my wife and I had a brand new home built for us this year in an area in southeastern Washington known as the Tri Cities. We're in a new subdivision just a short distance from the Columbia River, and we've been here for about 2 months now, so since we're all settled in now, I think it's time to explore the surrounding area a bit. Today I'm driving southeast along US Route 12. If I took it all the way, I'd end up in Detroit, Michigan, but this will just be about a half-hour drive today from my house in the Tri-Cities across this bridge right here that goes over the Snake River, and my destination is a very special spot along the Columbia River known as the Wallula Gap. I'm pulling off the road here to a very small parking area at a trailhead where you'll find this sign, which tells the Native American legend of the Twin Sisters, the very unique rock formation that was formed by massive flooding at this spot about 14,000 years ago. You can freeze the video right here if you want to read the sign and learn the old legend. Now there's a trail that leads up this ravine, and notice some very big boulders that have tumbled all the way down the hill and ended up here. That must have been one heck of a rumble when that happened. Now as long as you don't have any mobility issues, it's a pretty easy hike up the trail, taking you up something like 150 or 200 feet in elevation above where we parked. And if you follow the trail off to the right there, it takes you up to a nice little flat spot that'll give you a great view of both the Columbia River and the Twin Sisters. Here's the view of the Columbia River, and this specific spot is known as the Wallula Gap. Everything upriver from here is pretty much wide open spaces, but this is the first spot along the river where the canyon walls rise up and the flow of water through here is squeezed a bit. About 14,000 years ago, the Missoula floods sent a huge amount of water and debris down the river, and this was a bit of a choke point for the flow, and that ended up creating the interesting rock formation you're just about to see. Now, the best way to see it is really from the air, and that's where having a drone really comes in handy, because with my DJI Mavic Mini drone, I got some beautiful video of the Twin Sisters. Now, in this initial view of the rock formation, you can't really see why it is called the Twin Sisters. But as I start to move the drone to the west just a little bit, pretty soon, you're going to see exactly why they're called that. There you go. A perfect view of the Twin Sisters. Those two massive pillars are made of basalt, which is basically a type of lava that flowed through this area about 17 million years ago and turned into hard rock when it finally cooled. And in the background, you can see a whole line of basalt cliffs. When the great Missoula floods occurred about 14,000 years ago, the tremendous flow of water and debris through here eroded away everything but the strongest basalt and created the very unique topography of the area. Now, when you think of Washington State, you probably think of somewhere where it rains all the time and where everything is green with lots of trees. That's the west side of Washington State, Seattle, for example. Very wet, very green. Looking at these shots from the drone, obviously the situation is very different here. It's desert land out here in southeastern Washington. In Seattle, the average annual rainfall is 37 inches, but out here, it's only about 8 or 9 inches a year. But it's a great place to live because with the Columbia River flowing through, there's no shortage of water for farming or for drinking. About 40 million gallons of water flows through here every minute. I'm going to be quiet for a few minutes now and let you enjoy some more beautiful aerial views of the Twin Sisters as I fly the drone all the way around for a 360-degree view. While I was up there on the bluff with a great view of the Columbia River, I saw something else of interest that I wanted to try to get on video with the drone, and I'll show you what that was right after this. If you've watched some of the other videos on my YouTube channel, you probably know that I love trains. Just the other day, I got this great aerial shot of a BNSF freight train crossing the Columbia River from Kennewick to Pasco. Well, from where I was positioned to shoot video of the Twin Sisters, I had a view of both sets of train tracks that run along the Columbia River. There's a set of tracks running each side of the river, and it's a very busy rail route where you will frequently see trains. Unfortunately, I didn't quite have the drone ready to go when a train passed by on the tracks that were on my side of the river, but I did see a train on the other side of the river and decided to see if I switched the drone into sports mode, which makes it go really fast, if I could fly the drone all the way to the other side of the river in time to get video of the train before it passed by. Unfortunately, it was the worst possible lighting. I was flying right towards the sun, which was very low in the sky because this was the beginning of November, so I just was not able to get good video of the locomotives at the front of the train. And I had to make a turn to the right so that I wasn't shooting right into the sun, and I had to settle for this very mediocre video of the back half of the train. But I thought it was pretty impressive that the drone made it all the way across the river because the river is over 3,700 feet wide at this point. It definitely helped that I was perched up high on the hillside, providing a clear line of sight for the drone's controller to transmit. Well, I've really been having a lot of fun with my Mavic Mini drone up here in Washington after moving up from California a little over 2 months ago following my retirement. I'm definitely planning on exploring the Pacific Northwest a lot more in the months and years ahead, and you can be sure that this will not be the last video I make showing you some of the interesting places I visit and the sights I see along the way. If there's anything you'd like to say to me, just go ahead and post a comment to this video. I read all the comments and personally reply to many of them. I'm Jim Zim. Thanks for watching.